Okay, hi everyone. So today I will be re-sleeving most of my collection. So I kind of made the decision to stop using Ultra Pro sleeves. I've used a mixture of Titan Shield, Ultra Pro, and Dragon Shield. And I started out with my collection using Ultra Pro sleeves because they were the cheapest at the time. But I've grown to kind of hate them. They're not the best quality out there by far. Yeah, I'm just not really a fan of them anymore. So I decided to start using pretty much exclusively Titan Shield sleeves now. I currently only use Dragon Shield for my NCT and Lightsum collections, and I will probably only continue to use Dragon Shield for NCT moving forward, and then use Titan Shield for everything else. I would say that Titan Shield is my preferred kind of brand to go to now. I will say one reason that I don't like using Ultra Pro very much anymore is because first of all, there's the little logo on there, which it does annoy me. So like, it obviously wasn't that big of an issue to me before, but now it's just not my favorite thing. And also the like manufacturing is really inconsistent on Ultra Pro. I don't know if this makes even any sense, but there's some sleeves where, I don't even know if I can explain this to you, but like the top of the sleeve, maybe I can show you. Maybe not, but there's some sleeves where it's like you can push the card all the way up without an issue, and there's like not a gap up here like there is on this one. And then there's obviously some sleeves that are more like this, where there is like a little bit of gap between like the top and the top of the card. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you at all, but it's just something that I've noticed. And that is one thing that really bothers me the most. Well, I've been using Titan Shield on my Twice collection specifically for a little bit over a year, I think. I actually don't know when I decided to start using Titan Shield for my Twice collection, but I know it's been a while. But I decided that I really like Titan Shield. I figured I could re-sleeve my entire collection and it would look a lot better. So that's what we're doing today. I'm re-sleeving my entire collection, and I decided to make this video a little bit more interesting, that I would do a Q&A, just so I have some things to talk about. So I did ask, on Instagram and on my community page for some questions, and I will just be going through and talking about some things while I re-sleeve my collection. So hopefully you enjoy. I will only be going through my Girl Groups binder, my Attention binder, and one of my A5 binders today. Yeah, it's not like the entirety of my collection, but it is most of it. So yeah, we can go ahead and get started. I'm actually just going to take out all of the cards first and like take the sleeves off them, and then we can get started with the questions and things. So I will start off with that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started now. I have my pile of sleeves over here, but I'll just get started with the first question. So the first question is there a collection you regret dropping? I will say no, there isn't. Although I will say, well, I don't know. I usually make really informed decisions when I go ahead and drop a collection. Like, I really try to make sure that when I drop something that it's what I want to do, just because I don't want to, regret the decisions that I make and then have to buy back things, because that's never fun. So my blanket answer is no, but I will say there are some groups that I'm sad I still can't collect. So I would say a lot of the post IOI groups and solos and stuff like that, I'm really sad I can't collect it as fully as I'd want. Back in 2017 or whatever, when IOI first disbanded, I was going to collect all of the members. Well, I was gonna try, but it just didn't work. So that kind of sucks. I'm still pretty sad that I can't collect, but I also don't care that much. But I just wish my collections, I don't know, it's just obviously not easy to collect so many different people, but it is what it is now. And it's the same thing with 101 solos and stuff. I only just recently pretty much completely gave up on doing that, which sucks because I really want to support all of the members. But I mean, just collecting wise, it's not really realistic. But I wouldn't say I regret dropping those collections, just because I feel better about my collection now since I've kind of taken that weight off my shoulder. There's some things I wish I still could collect, but most of it I'm not too worried about. So yeah. Next question is, If you had an infinite amount of money, which card would you buy? So I thought about this actually, and I came up with the answer of Jihyo's Signal and Likey broadcast cards. I know that's 2 cards, but they're just both so cute that I don't know. It's hard to pick one, you know. I feel like that's also kind of a random answer too, because I don't know. I do collect a lot of Jihyo things, but I've never considered collecting broadcasts. But those are like really expensive cards that if I ever got the chance to own, it'd be really nice. But like I said, I thought about it and I couldn't really think of anything else that I would be interested in buying that's like more of an expensive card or something like that. I mean, a lot of Taeyong merch is really expensive, but I'm not sure any of those cards have ever really grabbed me to the point where I feel like I need to have it. So I feel like the Jihyo answer is probably the best one. I'll try to put pictures up, but if you haven't seen her Signal and Likey broadcast cards, they are so cute, and I love them. Also, I'm filming this on the day of Jihyo's birthday, so happy birthday to her. I think I'm going to try to make an Instagram post for her, but we'll see if I have time. So the next question is, hopefully I don't go through these too quickly, but we'll see. Next question is, which idol do you definitely want to meet someday? So I'll say right now that I don't really want to meet any idols, because the thought of meeting idols makes me very anxious, and it is one reason why I never apply for fan signs. And I don't know, I don't really want to meet idols. I don't know if that's weird, but I don't know, the thought of like winning a fan sign just makes me super anxious, and it's not something I want to do. But for the sake of answering the question, I will say that I think it'd be nice to meet Brave Girls. I don't know, love them a lot. Might be an obvious answer, they're like my alt girl group. So yeah, I think it would be nice to meet them. But I guess one thing that kind of scares me about meeting idols is like the language barrier, and I know it's not that much of an issue because especially for fan signs there's like translators and things, but I don't know, it still makes me really nervous, and I don't know Korean, so you know. But another idol that I would say I would want to meet is Mark from NCT. Obviously there's not a language barrier there, and I think he's just generally very sweet, so I don't think talking to him would ever be too bad. But yeah, so I guess that's my answer for that. Yeah, like I said, meeting idols, I don't know, I will say I've only met, I think I've only met idols one time, and that was when I met Obtention in, I don't know what year it was, but it was a while ago. I think it had to have been like 2018 or something. I really don't remember, but even then I didn't really get to talk to them because it was just like high touch and then something else. So yeah, but I've never really gone out of my way to meet or talk to idols, so I don't know if it'll ever happen. We'll see. Okay, yeah, so that was my Blackpink section, all re-sleeved. I think it looks really nice because there's no logo now. You can see there's no logo on the sleeves, and also these sleeves are pretty clear, except on the back where it's like matte, but it doesn't really make the back any harder to see. So yeah, moving on to Brave Girls. I will just take the sleeves off of these really quick. Okay, so here we have my Brave Girls stack. I love to see the growth here. It's amazing because this was my stack before 2021, and now I've more than doubled my collection, so it's really nice. But the next question I have is, I guess this was kind of 2 different questions, but I combined them a bit. So it is most prized album and favorite album you own. So pretty much the same question. But I would say that my most prized album is probably my signed Rollin' album. Yeah, I guess obvious reasons why. I did participate in their Make Star back in, I think it was 2016 when I contributed to it, and then their comeback was in 2017. So yeah, but I remember being so hyped for the Rollin' comeback. I've been looking back at my old tweets because I look at Time Hop from time to time, and I've had Twitter for years and years and years, probably way longer than I should have had it. But just seeing how hyped I was for the Brave Girls comeback. It's pretty crazy, especially because obviously I had no idea what was going to happen with them. So also another one of my favorite albums is the Summer Queen signed album that I got actually just recently, within the past month, I think. I was really thankful when someone let me know that that album was on Music Korea, which is where I bought it from, because I don't know, I was really wanting a signed Summer Queen album, but I kind of figured I would not be able to get one. I saw promos listed for way too expensive, so I kind of just ruled it out, but I paid a very reasonable price for the album, so I'm very thankful. But yeah, and then another one of my favorites is actually my Hotshot and my Hotshot signed album. I would honestly still consider Hotshot my alt group. They're not together anymore, and none of them are really active doing much, but I still love them to death. But I remember I bought it, I think I bought it on Mercari, like US Mercari, and I bought it for like a pretty good price, and it was OT6 signed. For a while that was something that mattered to me. Now not so much. I wouldn't say I really care that it is OT6 signed. It being OT6 signed was something that made it more special to me, but now I don't really care. I'm just happy that I have a signed album. I actually wanted to get a signed Early Flowering album, but I never got around to it. There are some on eBay, but it's a little pricey, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, if it wasn't for shipping prices, I'd be able to buy it, but it is pretty expensive to ship things from Korea to here. So maybe one day I'll be able to get a signed Early Flowering album, but for now, it's not too much of a deal, I guess. Like, I'm not too fussed about having it. But I would say, yeah, that is pretty much my answer for that. I guess if I were to say anything else, I love that I own IOI's, it was like their limited edition album for Chrysalis. I don't know, I had always wanted it, and then I found it for sale on eBay for not a bad price, so I went ahead and bought it, and it was like just one of my prized items for a while. Okay, next question is, what are your top 5 photo cards you own? So I took a look, and the ones that caught my eye the most, as of yesterday when I looked, I'll try to show pictures of them, but you'll probably see, yeah, you'll be seeing I guess 2 of them in this video. So yeah, I'll insert pictures if I can remember. But the first one I would say is Chowan, her Sinara card from Vanilla era. It is a wonderfully beautiful card, and I'm really happy that I own it. Lightsum and Chowan are one of my most recent, like, newly added collections, and I've just really been having a good time collecting Chowan. So yeah, she has a lot of really pretty cards, but I would say that one is probably my favorite of hers. Another good Chowan card specifically is her Joan Music, actually both of her Joan Music cards from Vivace era. I have round 1 for Joan Music, and round 2 is on its way to me, so I don't have it yet, but I will soon. But those cards are absolutely beautiful, but not included in my top 5. And then another one that I really like is Jihyo's Twice Coaster Lane 1 tie card. I used to actually collect tie cards. Yeah, I collected tie cards from The Story Begins until Twice Coaster Lane 1, I think. And then I stopped because they were a little bit expensive. And also I think I just stopped collecting Jihyo as thoroughly as I was. Because when I started out collecting Twice, they did not have very much stuff at all. So I would just buy whatever came out. Yeah, but then I started collecting more people, and obviously it's more things to collect. So I just stopped buying tie cards. But I will say her Twice Coaster Lane 1 card is my favorite. I do really love her tie cards specifically. I think The Story Begins and Page 2 are also really pretty. But yeah, like I said, Twice Coaster Lane 1 has always been one of my favorites. So yeah, that is number 2. And then number 3 I would say is my Taeyong Superhuman Kino card. For a while, before reprints, it was a really nice card to have. Just because it was like, made me feel a little bit cool for having something that so many people wanted. And I remember I didn't pay very much for it. I just paid like, well, I know I bought it off Great Music CD, and it wasn't too expensive. But now I still think it's like a really beautiful card. So again, it's like one of my favorites that I have. And then number 4 I would say is probably Ten's Takeoff card. That card is just beautiful. It is genuinely a really beautiful card, so I really love that I have it. So I'm really sad that I'll probably never get Yang takeoff card just because I have Xiaojun's, but I don't want to trade because I don't want anything to get lost. I don't want to get scammed. I don't want the potential loss of the card. So I'm just keeping Xiaojun, but yeah. And then the last one I would say is probably one of the Zhao fan sign cards I have. Uptension had a lot of fan sign cards for Connection, and I think I have 9 total. So there was a set of 4 that I got though from Jump Up, and they were all really, really beautiful cards, and I'll probably insert pictures of them. You will see them in this video because of course I'm going through my Uptension collection, but they just genuinely beautiful. Zhao has some of the cutest cards ever, and I love my collection for him. So yeah, those are probably my top 5. I have a lot of really, really nice cards, but yeah, I guess those are kind of my favorite. Okay, so next question is, what is your favorite K-pop related item that you own? And this is probably the easiest question. It is definitely my Hojung signed Polaroid, just because it is signed and personalized to me. It is something that just means the absolute most to me because, as you all know, I love Hojung with my whole entire heart. I don't think I'll ever love a man like I love Go Hojung. It's just how it is. I don't know, knowing that I have a Polaroid that is signed and personalized to me and the picture itself is so cute, it means so much to me. I just love it so much. And I look at it every day. I have it on display on my shelf, so yes, very happy about that one. I also have just some other hotshot related items that are really special to me. There's this special album that they did. I'm trying to remember like what the circumstances were. I don't really remember. I just know it was kind of a thing that Star Crew did with fans. They produced the album and then it was kind of like a group order. Kind of like it was just basically Star Crew producing the album and then sending it out to group order managers, if that makes sense. It's really hard to explain, but it came with, like, it was a CD. It was the physical that Jelly was on, and also there was solo songs from I think Timo, Junhyuk, and San. I don't really remember that well, but it was something really special to me at the time. I still am very happy that I own it, but that was something that was really exciting to me at the time. And then also I have the signed photo book from, it was the same thing that I got the Hojung Polaroid from. It was like I guess a crowdfunding thing for a photo book. It took Star Crew way too long to do that, but it's a really, really nice photo book, so I'm glad that I have it. Yeah, so I would say a lot of my my favorite K-pop related things that I own are probably hotshot related, just because, you know, they're forever my favorite group. So yeah, I also have some other signed Polaroids that I really love that I have. I have a Shihyun one that is actually from the Jungkook and Shihyun album. I bought that secondhand. I didn't pull it or anything from the album, but I really love that album. And I'm talking like Shihyun from We in the Zone. If none of you know, We in the Zone doesn't exist anymore, but they were one of my favorite groups. And then I also have a Somi Polaroid, former Daya member, I guess. Yeah, that one is also something I just cherish because it is so cute. And yeah, I think that's all I'll mention for that question. And then the next question is, do you ever just look through your photo books and photo cards? I honestly don't look through photo books very often. I just don't. I don't know. It's not something I ever think about often, which kind of sucks because I should be looking through the things that I buy, but I just don't very often. So yeah, that's one reason why I kind of changed up my collecting kind of strategy for the year. If you watched kind of my beginning end of the year videos, you'd know that I did change up my collecting and like just generally how I'm collecting albums and stuff. And I just feel like I have so many things that I don't look at very often. So it's like I don't really like need to own so many things. I would say I look at my photo cards more often, but still not a lot. I used to look at my binders like every single day, but now I feel like I just don't look at them very often, mostly because I would usually look through them before to kind of like reorganize and things. But now, since I like pre-plan organize and like everything has to be exactly how I like it, like immediately, so there's not really much reorganizing going on often. And if I do reorganize, most of the time it's on camera. I would say a lot of the times I look at my binders, it's just on camera when I'm putting things away and doing flip throughs and stuff like that. So I should look at them more, but it's also like I know what's in there. So I don't know. but I will say I'm often just doing other things, so I don't think about looking at my collection all the time. I do really love my collection though, so just because I don't look at it often doesn't mean that I don't like to look at it. So and there's my Brave Girls collection. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and take all the sleeves off my Itsy collection, and then again we'll come back. Okay, so here we have my stack, and I think I'm gonna grab some more sleeves. I did already have some Titan Shield sleeves like ready to go, but I did buy 3 new packs to re-sleeve everything. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's enough. It should be. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Can get started with the next question. So this one is actually kind of a long one, but it's also an interesting one, so thank you to the person that asked for this because I'm excited to talk about it. So the question is kind of in 3 parts, so I'll kind of go however I feel necessary, but it says, how did you feel when Brave Girls began to get popular? Were you suspicious it would all go away / fade? So that's kind of like part 1 to the question. I will say I was really shocked when they started going viral. The first the Viditor video that was up, I was just kind of shocked that it hit 10 million views. Like, that was insane to me, and I didn't really know that it would. I actually didn't think that it would get to the point that it has. I didn't know if Brave Entertainment would kind of capitalize on the situation. I figured they would, but also just given like their track record and their past with Brave Girls, I figured it was kind of up in the air about how they deal with it. Just because I knew they were competent enough at their job, especially to promote, like, you know, Samuel in the past and their newest boy group, DKB. Like, I knew they know how to promote groups, but they've never done it with Brave Girls. So yeah, I was really interested to see how Brave would kind of go about it. Like, I literally had no idea what to expect. So I honestly have to say I'm really happy with the outcome. For the most part. And in terms of whether I thought it would fade, like, I literally had no idea. I was leaving it up to Brave Entertainment to kind of figure it out and do what they needed to do to be able to promote Brave Girls and, you know, continue kind of the success that they were seeing. It was I obviously really wanted the best for Brave Girls. I wanted to be optimistic that things would be in their favor. So I want to say that no, I wasn't ever really suspicious that it would go away. I was just remaining optimistic because, I don't know, I feel like I have so much just generally bad luck with a lot of my groups in terms of them, you know, not getting the attention they deserve, getting bad promotion from their company and stuff like that. It's like I just wanted one thing to go right, so I was putting like all of my trust and hope into Brave Entertainment, and I don't know, I'm really glad that they have gotten to the point that they're at. So next part of the question is, do you think there's any hope for other Nugu groups? If so, which ones would you like to blow up / which do you think deserve to? So do I think there's hope for other Nugu groups? I'll say yes, because I don't know, it's really hard to say because things go viral and get popular in Korea, and it's really hard to kind of determine how or when or why things are going to happen. So I always think that Korea is really interesting in that way, is that things go viral. The general public, like, it's almost like the entirety of Korea is kind of behind whatever it is that's going viral. Not like in a literal sense, not like the entirety of Korea, but y'all know what I mean. And I mean, things randomly go viral all the time, but the same thing that was happening to Brave Girls was kind of happening with LaBoom, with their Journey to Atlantis song getting slightly popular again. And it was kind of what happened to Brave Girls, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's obviously not in the same vein, but it's similar. But also things didn't turn out the same way for LaBoom as they did for Brave Girls, and I'm not sure if it's because of a difference in kind of how the company went about promoting them or whatever. But I mean, they had a comeback, and you still didn't hear very many people talking about it. So I feel like, I don't know, it kind of did happen to another group, but also not in the same way, and it didn't work out as well for them. But I do hope for more LaBoom comebacks in the future, by the way. I really love LaBoom, so I don't know. I think generally it's possible that something similar could happen again, but I also feel like what happened with Brave Girls is kind of like a 1 in a million chance, because a lot of the reason why they got so popular was because people, you know, resonated with their story and stuff like that. So I mean, it's possible for other groups to get popular because of that as well. I don't know. But in terms of like which Nugu groups I think deserve to like blow up or get popular, I'll say my favorite, I guess, Nugu groups, if you want to put that in quotes. I don't know if these are technically Nugu groups. I will say if I see Nugu promoter promoting them, then I guess it works. But I feel like Signature is a group that really deserves more attention, more love. They're a group of really great, talented girls, and I love them a lot. You know, I've been following them ever since they were Good Day, so I don't know, I just really want the best for them, so I'm hoping that something good happens for them. I hope they are able to kind of gain some more popularity and some more love, you know. But also, I've also really been liking Hot Issue these days. If you know, like if you follow me anywhere, or if you've watched, like, I guess the last video I put up, you know that I'm starting to collect Hot Issue, which I think is a pretty big deal because there's like no singular group that I've gotten into in the way that I've gotten into Hot Issue, like recently. I've had the hardest time getting into any new group, and the fact that I got into Hot Issue in the way that I have is kind of a big deal for me, and I just think they're really, really great. I think they have great music, I think they have a great concept, and they're all really great girls, so I also think that they deserve more love as well. But it's hard to say what other groups I would put in that category because I don't know, I feel like kind of every group deserves, I don't know, I just think all groups work really hard to be to the point that they're at, like debuted idols, and I feel like it must really suck for them when they put in all of this work and then they get, like, I don't know, it's just like things don't really work out in the way that it is. It's like really, it's a lot. Yeah, and I feel like generally new girl groups put out like some of the best music anyways. From like 2016 to 2018 or 19, I would say it's like the golden years for some like new girl group songs. One of my favorite songs is Higher by Park High. She's a soloist, and literally it's just me and like her 10 monthly listeners on Spotify, but it's like literally one of my favorite songs of all time, seriously. And also like another one of like literally my favorite songs of all time is High Five by Cherry on Top, which is another new girl group from like, oh, was it like 2019? I don't remember, but again, their song High Five is genuinely one of my favorite songs of all time. Yeah, that group does not exist anymore, but yeah, I guess that was kind of off topic, but that was a really good question. So yes, thank you to that person for asking that. So next questions are kind of not K-pop related. I kind of switched them, put them in an order so I could talk about K-pop related stuff first and then non-K-pop related stuff last. So next question, the person just asked what my favorite food is. I would say I'm kind of the specific kind of ramen lately. It's kind of a weird answer, I don't know, but it's like, I'm sure y'all, I don't know what it's even called, but it's like my favorite thing ever at the moment, so I will say that. And that person also asked me place you want to visit the most in the whole world. So I will say kind of an obvious answer. I genuinely would really like to go to Korea and Japan someday. I think they'd just be really fun places to go. But besides that, I think I'd also really like to go to England someday. Couldn't really tell you why, but I just feel like it'd be fun. And also, just generally, I think I'd really like to kind of do more traveling around the United States. I live in Wisconsin, and I haven't been to many different states. I've been to, I think, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri, Ohio, and Michigan. And I've been to New York, and like pretty much I drove through all the states between Wisconsin and New York one time. So yeah, I would like to actually visit more places in the US though. Like I think I'd like to go to like Texas. I'd like to go west, so I'd like to go to like California. Probably I think I'd like to go to Washington, do a little visit to Forks, but also Seattle would be fun, I think. I feel like I should go to more different places in the US. And I guess also I wouldn't hate going like literally anywhere in Europe. Maybe like France, I don't know. France is kind of scary. I took French for 4 years in high school. Well, maybe 3, I don't remember, but I hated it. So yeah, I don't know if I'd want to go to France. I feel like it'd be interesting, but also the French language is not my favorite thing. Also, I think, I don't know what else, but I guess, yeah, that's kind of my answer. I think just generally I'd like to travel more because I just haven't gotten the chance to, so yeah. Okay, so next question. So this next question is definitely going to be a very long answer. So maybe I'll start when I get to the next album because I'm on the last page right now. So let's just do this really quick. Okay, so that is my entire Girl Groups collection re-sleeved. I really, really like how Titan Shield sleeves look, feel, work. I don't know. So yeah, I will move on to my Obtention binder now. So then I will get back into answering more questions. Okay, so next I will be doing my Obtention binder. So just like before, I'm going to take all the cards out first and unsleeve them so then I can start re-sleeving. And we have a lot to do. This is how many pages I have. This is why I was kind of worried about having enough sleeves, but we'll see. I think I should have enough. Before I start unsleeving all the cards, I would like to say that I finally found sleeves that actually fit the circle cards, and I was actually really excited when I found these. But these are board game card sleeves, and they are 70 millimeters by 70 millimeters, which is exactly the size of these circle cards, and they fit perfectly. And this is probably the best thing I've found in a while. Very, very happy. I still need to buy more, but this was like an amazing find. So happy about this. Okay, so I'm finally done taking the sleeves off of everything. It literally took me 20 minutes. If you put all of the cards together, let's see how big of a stack this makes. Wow, okay, this is how many Obtention cards I have. Okay, so I'm just gonna split these up into 4 different stacks. This is just too much, but I'm actually gonna open, I think, 4 of these packs, and we'll see where that gets me. Okay, I actually just opened 3 packs. Hopefully that is enough. If not, it's fine. I still have 5 packs left. So I'll just get started. Next question is just asking about what music I listen to other than K-pop. So this is definitely going to be a very long-winded answer. Music is something I'm very, very passionate about. So yes, definitely will be long-winded. But with that said, my favorite band of all time, above everything else, forever, always, is Crown the Empire. So I love Crown the Empire so much. I have since I was 13. They just mean absolutely everything to me. And it's really hard to explain, but just think about the one thing you love most in the world, and that is exactly how I feel about Crown the Empire. I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but I've been to so many Crown the Empire concerts. I've met them, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 times. The lead singer is actually I want to say he knows me, which I don't know, it's not like I'm bragging, but it's just like every time that I meet him, he's always very, he knows who I am, and he always seems like he's happy to see me, and he's just always very nice to me, and I just love it so much. They have some of my favorite music ever. It is, I don't know, like metalcore, I guess. The genres kind of change as albums go by, but all of their music is just so good. My favorite album of theirs, though, is The Fallout, which is their first full-length. It came out 10 years ago now, in 2012, and I'm praying, begging on my hands and knees for a 10-year tour where they play literally every single song on the album, because I've been trying to bug them to play my favorite song of theirs, which is Two's Too Many, and it's on that album. I've been bugging them to play it live for years, and they just have not, will not. I've even been told that they practiced it once to play on tour, but it never happened. So that was kind of devastating to hear. But hopefully my dreams come true this fall and I'm able to see it live. But anyways, yes, Crown the Empire is my favorite band of all time. I also really, really like, another one of my favorites is Bring Me the Horizon. I'll be honest, a lot of the music that I still listen to that is not K-pop is a lot of the music I was into when I was 13, 14, 15. I got into K-pop when I was 16, so just a lot of the music that I listen to that isn't K-pop is from before I got into K-pop, if that makes sense. So yeah, Bring Me the Horizon is another one of my favorite bands. I think most of their discography is pretty good, but my favorite album of theirs is Suicide Season. I actually just recently made a post on my collection, my collection Instagram, that included that album, which I really like that photo, by the way. I think also that Sempiternal, their next album after that, is one of the best rock albums ever. It is so genuinely iconic. And also the album that they put out in 2020, one of my favorites. I love just the unhingedness of Bring Me the Horizon. So yeah, that's really good. And then another one of my favorite bands is Dance Gavin Dance. Literally could not talk enough about how much I love them. I think in the genre, in the scene that they're in, they're probably one of the most iconic bands. They've been around for well over 15 years, I think, and they've had a lot of lineup changes, which they're kind of known for, but they've had a pretty, not entirely consistent, but pretty consistent lineup. They're more known for how often they've changed singers in the past. They've had 3 different singers, but they've had the same one for the past 10 years now, so it's not really not really something they're known for these days. But my favorite album of theirs is their album Instant Gratification. They have a lot of albums, like I don't know how many off the top of my head, but they've released one like every year for years. Maybe not every year, but they're like really frequently. But also I really love their Downtown Battle Mountain 1 and 2 albums, 2 different albums. They're both iconic. Everything about them is just so iconic. But I also really love their album Mothership. So I don't know, I think overall they have like one of the best discographies. It's really consistent. You know, they've changed styles slightly over the years, but otherwise they're still like really consistent, and they still put out some of the best music. They have some of the best instrumentals, one of the best screamers. They have sometimes just entirely nonsensical lyrics, which I love, and it makes them that much better. And just everything about Dance Gavin Dance is everything that I love. I haven't listened to them much in the past like year or two, but I'm like entirely right now just back in my Dance Gavin Dance era, and I love it so much. Their music just brings me so much joy. So yeah. And then another one of my favorites, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't really consider them a favorite band, but their music is some of my favorite music, and it is Fall Out Boy. I really love all of the music that they put out from 2003 to like 2013. Take This to Your Grave, From Under the Cork Tree, Infinity on High, Fully Ado, and Save Rock and Roll. Those are my favorite albums of theirs. It's like every album they put out from 2003 to 2013. I just think that era for them is so good. Like, they hardly have any bad songs. From Under the Cork Tree is just generally like one of my favorite, I don't know, is it like pop punk, maybe just like emo albums. And then Infinity on High, that's been in circulation since I was like 8 years old. Literally, it came out in 2007, I think, and it's been on repeat since. But it's also kind of like my emotional support album. I don't know, it's like the album I go to when I need to like really feel something. So it's the same kind of thing with Fully Ado, but I feel like I have to be in a certain kind of mood for that one. But also Save Rock and Roll is a special album to me because that was their comeback album after a like 4-year hiatus, and yeah, it was just a really fun time, I remember. So it's also kind of nostalgic for that reason, but also the music, great. And also another kind of band, I guess, that I would say their music is my favorite. I don't love the person. I actually don't like them at all, but it is Panic at the Disco. So A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, Pretty Odd, Vices and Virtues, those albums are god tier albums. I don't care what anyone has to say, they are all good. And I'm not a fan of Brendan Urie at all in the slightest, and I think the music that he has put out since Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die is garbage. Everything after like 2013 just sucks, and that's that. But again, like the first 3 Panic albums are like just god tier to me. They're everything I love about music. But also I really like Paramore, so I would say my favorite album of theirs is Brand New Eyes. Just as a whole, it is the album I listen to the most and connect with the most. But I also really do like Riot. So I've never been like the biggest Paramore fan, but I do really love those 2 albums of theirs. And then another band that I really love is Icy Stars. So they're kind of like a more electric EDM type version of all of the bands that I mentioned before, in a way. So I think that they have a really great discography, and their first 4 albums are really good. So their first album was 3D. It's really good, but also the album after that, which is The End of the World Party, is one of my favorites. It turned 10 years old last year, and I've spent like literally all of 2020 and 2021 listening to that album specifically, just because it is so, I don't know, it's just so good, and I love it so much. And also their album Digital Renegade is really good. It was kind of a different, more heavier style for them after End of the World Party, but I love like heavy music, so it's really good. And then New Demons is probably their best album in full, like genuinely god tier. But it kind of sucks. New Demons came out in 2013, and they haven't really put out anything interesting since then. They put out an album in maybe 2016, but I don't think I ever really listened to it. It wasn't really my thing, but I will stand by the fact that their first 4 albums are just like god tier albums. So yes. And then we have a list of like bands that I like, I guess enough to mention. So I really like Metro Station. If you know the song Shake It, their whole first album is really special to me. It's like obviously like scene kid music, but I kind of embrace the scene phase I'm going through these days. I just love that kind of music so much. Anything that came out from like, I don't even know, like 2005 to 2000, I don't know, 9, it's all such good stuff. And like another band I really like is Breathe Carolina. My favorite album of theirs is Hell Is What You Make It. It is so good. I love like electronic music, but like a really specific kind of, it has to be like really specific, I guess. So I don't know, I really love Breathe Carolina. I went through a big Breathe Carolina phase when I was like 14. I remember I saw them live one time with a friend that I met from Twitter, and it like it sent me down a spiral, and I don't know, I've been really in love with them ever since then, which that was in 2014, I think, so it was a while ago. But then I really like Sleeping with Sirens. I've actually been listening to them a little bit more often recently. I don't listen to any of their newer music, but their Let's Cheers to This album is one of my favorite albums of all time. Postcards and Polaroids, God tier song. I love it so much. And I also really like their first album as well. I don't remember what it's called, but I also like the acoustic EP that they have. Yeah, that's about it. And then one of my favorite bands from like 2014 is Issues. So I don't even know if they're much of a thing these days, but and like from like 2012 to 2014 they were like one of my favorites. So like their first EP and their first self-titled album they're like so good, God tier albums. I still listen to them all the time, and it is just like my happy music. I really like the main, specifically their Can't Stop Won't Stop album. I think that came out in 2008. And then again, it's just like a case of like music from that time just being my favorite. And also Cute Is What We Aim For. They only ever put out 2 albums, but they were like the pinnacle of like scene kid music, and I still love it so much. And also You Me at 6 is another band that I like. I mostly like their Hold Me Down and Sinners Never Sleep albums. And I'm a big fan of Cartel. I love that band. I mostly listen to their Chroma and Cycles albums. And when I was in high school, I was also a really big fan of a band called Emarosa. But I still think that Emarosa, their Relativity and self-titled albums are 2 of the most just iconic albums. Regardless, you know, I think the music is top tier, wonderful, great. I love it still. I also really like We Are the In Crowd. They're more like pop punk, but more like pop, I guess. But they were more different at the time because they have a female vocalist, which there's not many bands with female vocalists, or at least there wasn't at the time. But I still think like they haven't put out music since like 2014, but all of their albums and stuff are really great. So I still listen to them all the time. I also really like Never Shout Never, a lot of his early music. I think his Harmony album is definitely like one of my favorite albums. I actually just listened to it today. So yeah, I really love that album a lot, and like a lot of his early music from like MySpace and stuff is really good. So yeah, I don't listen to really anything he's put out recently. You know, really anything he's put out in the past 10 years I have not cared to listen to. I think he put out an album in 2015 where he like re-recorded and re-released some songs. So I think I listened to that. I listened to some songs off that, but obviously it's not really anything new. So more recently, I've been getting into Neck Deep. I actually really liked Neck Deep when I was more in my pop punk phase. So like I really liked State Champs and Neck Deep and a few other pop punk bands like Man Overboard. And I've been listening to Neck Deep actually kind of recently. They put out an album in 2020. And I just listened to it sometime this month, and I've been really enjoying it. And also another band that I actually just got into last year is Spirit Box. So they're more of a heavy band. You know, they got the screams, but they do have a female vocalist, which is something like there aren't a lot of metal bands with female vocalists. So that's like one of the most, like, it's not the only interesting thing about them, because they do genuinely release, like, they have some really good songs. But it is kind of what drew me to them, just because, I don't know, I've never personally myself come across a metal band with a female vocalist doing, you know, singing and screaming, so it was very interesting when I first found them. And I actually found them because the singer, she featured on a Crown the Empire song, so I started listening to Spirit Box because of that. My favorite song of theirs is definitely Holy Roller. It's a game changer for sure, but it just made me realize that I really love listening to women sing, do their thing, more than I care to listen to men scream at me. So I don't know, I've been trying to find more music just outside of the K-pop realm that I really enjoy, and I haven't really been able to find anything. So when I found Spirit Box, I was like overjoyed. So yeah. And then to mention some other things that I really like music-wise, I'm a pretty big Selena Gomez fan, which I feel like you may not expect from me considering everything I just talked about. But I do really love her. I love her Revival album and Rare, so good. I really also like the Spanish music that she put out. Just generally, I really like her a lot. So yeah. And the last thing I'll mention is like, I really like to listen to a lot of like just general pop music from like 2005 to like 2012. So if a song was popular in like 2005 to 2010, maybe not 2010, or like maybe 2009 or something, there's a lot of music I like there. And I mean like kind of stuff that was on like top 40 and stuff like that. But around 2011, I got into One Direction, so that was an interesting time in my life for sure. But I also, around that time, really enjoyed Little Mix and Demi Lovato. Personally, I'm not the biggest Demi Lovato fan, but I really like their, well, they have some really good like early songs like Don't Forget, and I don't remember what the albums were called, but their first 2 albums have some good songs on them, obviously, because it's just like Disney music, but also their Unbroken album is like one of my favorite things ever. So yeah, I still listen to that often. And then I also really loved Cher Lloyd around that time, and I still do. I still think her first album is one of my favorite pop albums of all time. There's just something about it. It is so good. She may have some really cringy music, but I still enjoy it, and I don't feel bad about it. So yeah. And also I really liked Ed Sheeran back in the day. I really liked his first like album Plus, but after that I cannot deal with Ed Sheeran. And if I talk about it too much, I'll get really upset, because his first album is Literal Gold, and then he just started releasing like really generic and annoying pop music after that, and I don't know, I'm still annoyed about it. But regardless, that was like kind of all of the music that I really like. I know that was probably really long, and I know probably none of you care, but I just love talking about the music that I like, and I feel like I just don't get the chance to talk about it very much. So yeah, and it is kind of just like an insight into what I'm interested in outside of K-pop. So moving on, finally. So another question is, what are your other hobbies outside of K-pop and collecting? So I will say I collect vinyl. I don't buy vinyl as much as I used to, but really it's just more of a curated collection of, you know, albums that I really love, like some of my favorite all-time albums that I have on vinyl. Like that's what I kind of try to limit my vinyl collection to. That's kind of why I don't buy as much. But I will say one of my most prized possessions is like my entire vinyl collection of Dance Gavin Dance's entire discography. There's a big vinyl collecting community within Dance Gavin Dance's fan base, and they kind of go crazy over those things, but I just really like to have all their albums on vinyl because they're very pretty, and like I mentioned before, they just have one of my favorite discographies, so you know, it's nice to have. But then I also started reading again recently. I actually used to be a really big reader when I was like a kid and in high school, but over the years I just kind of stopped reading. Like I would read less and less, and it kind of really sucked. I didn't read really anything at all in 2020, but 2021 I started reading again, mostly just because I got the chance to at work. I like kind of forced myself to get back into reading because after a time it came to a point where I wasn't able to continue reading at work, and I just kind of forced myself to get back into reading, and now I'm just like really enjoying my time finding new books and stuff to read. I set my goal to, well, last year I read, I think it was 30 something books, and this year I set my goal to 30, I think, again. But I'm actually already at 8 books read this year, and I'm filming this the 31st of January, so I think that's really good. I think one thing was just like trying to figure out my tastes, because I used to read a lot of YA, and I feel like that just doesn't interest me anymore, so I kind of had to find the books that I was more interested in, and now I feel like I'm more back in the swing of things and reading, so that's really nice. I am reading a lot of like romance these days. At the end of 2021, I found this author that I really like. Her name is Onley James, and she writes romance. She has this really fun series about, you know, psychopath killers, and it's just really fun, and I read those and I just became like completely obsessed, and I've been trying to make my way through her like backlist in books. And yeah, I've just been reading a lot of her books specifically, but I'm almost finished reading all of her books, so I'm needing to branch out and find some different books to read. But I read a lot on Kindle Unlimited, so I definitely do have a lot of things. I have my eye on a lot of different things to read, but the series I just mentioned had a book drop today actually, so I'm in the middle of reading it, and I'm hoping I can finish it like ASAP because it's one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I would say it's like second anticipated. My first anticipated would be the book in the series that comes out after this one, so I'm really excited for that one. But I've been trying to read every single day this year, and it has gone really well so far. I've, like I said, finished 8 books. I'm on my 9th and 10th, so I probably won't finish them before the month ends because obviously I just have today, but it's just been really nice to enjoy reading again because it gives me something else to do than just like sit around and do nothing. So yeah, I also have this card I totally forgot about. This is a keynote card. Let's see, I just have one question left, so I don't know if I will finish this before I'm done talking about that, but I could probably make this a really long discussion. So the last question is just the favorite concerts I've been to. Okay, so I've seen, in terms of K-pop groups, I've seen Uptension, NCT 127, Twice, 17, and 101. And then I also went to KCON 2017, which had CN Blue, Twice, GFriend, Highlight, SF9, K&K, Uptension, NCT 127, and Zion T. And I'm not sure if anyone else was on that list, but that's just what I remember. So I will say one of my favorite concerts, K-pop concerts that I've been to is probably Uptension, because I did get to meet them, and I got to take pictures with Xiao and Hwani. So that was like really special. I was just really glad to be able to see them at their own concert in the US because I never thought I'd get the chance. I never even thought I'd get the chance to see them live, period, but they did come to the US because of KCON. So that was the first time I saw them, and then the second time I saw them was on their own tour. I also really enjoyed seeing Twice. I think they put on a really good show, and I saw them at Twice Lights in 2019 maybe. Yeah, it had to have been 2019, but I had really good seats for that show, so I don't know, I just really enjoyed my time there. 101 is also a really standout one because 101 is a really special group to me, and I also got to meet some friends at that show, so it's definitely a day I will always remember, and it'll always be very special to me. I know I really enjoyed seeing 17 as well. I just don't remember much about it. I don't remember what tour it was. I'll try and like put it on the screen if I remember. Yeah, I know I had a good time. I just don't really remember much about it. And then KCON, that one was really fun because I actually drove to New York. I already mentioned I live in Wisconsin, and I drove to New York from Wisconsin, and it was just a really interesting trip. Probably not something I'll ever forget. So yeah, and it gave me the chance to see some groups that I don't think I'll ever like be able to see again. Like GFriend, obviously they're disbanded and they never even toured in the US. But they were a group I was really excited to see because I love their music, especially around that time as well. They had put out Navilera around that time, and that was like one of my favorite songs, and I just loved GFriend around that time. And also I was a really big SF9 fan around that time as well. So I'm still very glad that I can say I saw Easy Love live. It's one of my favorite K-pop songs. But also being able to see Uptension was really important to me at the time. And also seeing NCT 127 was really exciting for me because, I don't know, I've always loved them so much. That was around the time that Cherry Bomb came out, and I was just so enthralled by everything that NCT was doing. So overall, KCON was really fun for me. And I also remember really loving Zion T's performance because he does have some great songs. So yeah, but I would say my overall favorite is probably Uptension and Twice and 101. I don't know, it's hard to say. But in terms of non-K-pop concerts, I've been to like so many concerts. I started going to concerts when I was 10 years old, maybe 11 years old. My first concert was to see Justin Bieber, and it was in 2010. So I remember I went to go see Justin Bieber with my best friend at the time. That was really fun for me. My favorite concerts that I've been to have definitely been all of the Crown the Empire concerts that I've been to over the years. Since 2013, I've seen them 11 times. I think the first time I saw them was August of 2013. And then the most recent time I saw them was actually just this past December. So seeing them again, like, there's hardly been any years where I haven't gone to at least one Crown the Empire show. So going all of 2020 without seeing them was really rough, just because I always feel like I have the time of my life at every Crown the Empire concert I go to. And it's another reason why they mean so much to me. It's just because, I don't know, their shows have always just been kind of the one place where, like, everything just feels right and I don't have to worry about anything else. Like, I just have fun and I love it so much. But I guess I haven't seen them at their own concerts 11 times. I've seen them 11 different times, but I've gone to a lot of Warped Tours over the years, which I miss Warped Tours so much. It's one of my favorite things. And it's also the reason that I was able to meet Crown the Empire for the first time. Meeting them was, like, very, very important to me. I don't know, I really liked to meet band members back in the day. I just really, really wanted to meet Crown the Empire back then. And the first time I saw them at Warped Tour, I got the chance to meet them at a signing. So this is a really interesting story, so I'll tell it. Yeah, so they had a signing that day at Warped Tour. So I got in line for that. And the lead singer, he's, like, technically my favorite member, I guess. He's just a guy that I like. But I do truly, like, I love him a lot. Like, I have a really special place in my heart for him. And I used to tweet him so much. Like, I used to be really annoying when I was a kid. And yeah, so I tweeted him all the time. And so when I first got up to him at the signing, he recognized me from my Twitter, like, profile picture. And I remember this so vividly, but he stood up and gave me a hug. And he said, "It's really nice to finally meet you." And it, like, made me cry. I don't know, it was like a surreal kind of moment for me. But also that same day, the band was also doing some kind of Q&A type of thing, but I remember I got there, I think I showed up late. He kind of, like, called me out a little bit. I don't even remember why, but it was, like, obviously kind of like a funny joke. Obviously it wasn't mean-spirited or anything. I think it was actually a question that was asked about, like, social media and stuff, and he just kind of, like, pointed me out because obviously I tweeted him all the time. But then, like, the most monumental thing was, like, me actually getting a selfie with him. So yeah, it was just a really nice thing. I still have the picture of me and him from that day, like, framed on my shelf. So yeah, but that was just one really fun time. I don't know, I've met them quite a few times over the years, and one time I even had the singer draw my tattoo for me, which is this here. It is related to him specifically, but also, yeah, and then I got the chance to, like, show him the tattoo at a different show. He was just really, really sweet. And yeah, I got, like, my favorite picture that I have of him, like, me and him. Well, I guess it was a picture of me and the whole band. I took a picture of the whole band. I do love all of the members, but he just, you know, I love him. It was just a really cute picture. And it's still my phone background, and it's been since 2018 since that happened. So yeah, I obviously love Crown the Empire very, very much. They mean a lot to me, and seeing them so many times over the years has meant a lot. I've actually traveled, well, I feel like I don't go out of my way to travel for many concerts and tours, but I've gone to Iowa, which is such a weird place to go for a concert, but that's, like, genuinely one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to is that one. It was like a 5-hour drive, and I just remember being exhausted at the show, but I was front row, and I remember I had the time of my life. It was a really small venue, like a really small bar, so there was no barricade. So I was up against the stage, and my knees, the stage went up to my knees, so I was, like, bent over the stage the entire time because I couldn't really stand up straight because it was very packed in the crowd. But yeah, I always try to make my way up front at any, like, general admission concert I make it to, because it's always more fun that way. But also, moving on from Crown the Empire now, I've also seen Bring Me the Horizon quite a few times. Ooh, you did not just see that. I've seen them 5 times. They are one of my favorite bands to see live, just because their crowds always go so insane and I love it so much. The last time I saw them was in 2019, and I remember at that show they played a song from Suicide Season, which is their first album. They don't play songs from that album very often anymore. I went insane because I think it was Diamonds Aren't Forever that they played, and it'd been over 5 years since they played that song live, and it was just absolutely insane. I loved that show so much. But also, I've seen One Direction a few times. I saw them 3 times actually. I saw them in 2012, 2013, and then 2015. Being able to say that I got to see them with 5 Seconds of Summer opening for them has always been kind of a flex. I don't listen to Five Sauce anymore, but I used to. I used to be really into them, but not anymore, but you know. Actually, I've seen Selena Gomez, and she put on a wonderful show. I always feel like going to like big act pop concerts is really interesting because you get such a different vibe. Obviously they're like seated concerts instead of being general admission. It's just more of a overall show, if that makes any sense. So seeing Selena Gomez was actually pretty fun. Like I mentioned, I went to a lot of Warped Tours in the past. If you don't know what it is, it's like a big festival, but it's like a tour. So they go to a lot of different places, but like it is a pretty big kind of festival type deal. And I got to see a lot of my favorite bands through that, meet quite a few different people because of that. I don't know if I can get this in here. So I think I started going to Warped Tour when I was 14, I think. And then I think it stopped being a thing when I was 19, maybe. I don't remember, but I know I went to the last one that they did. So yeah, but I've also seen Fall Out Boy a couple times. I actually saw them on their first tour back after their hiatus in 2013. That was a really special show for me, and I think I'll always remember it. Like, it was literally the first show back in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, after like 4 years, and it was really exciting at the time. I saw them, gosh, it was a general admission show, so that was really fun because I was able to get pretty close, and I always really like being close at concerts, so yeah. And then I saw them in 2014 at Monument Tour with it was Paramore, which that was a really fun show because I'd never seen Paramore before. And then I also saw them in 2015 when they did that tour with Wiz Khalifa. So yes, I have seen Wiz Khalifa live before. It is probably the weirdest thing I can say because I don't listen to Wiz Khalifa. But yeah, it's probably one of the most interesting shows I've been to because yeah, like Fall Out Boy and Wiz Khalifa is kind of a weird combo, but you know, it was what it was. Can't complain about it too much. But yeah, I'm also trying to think, who else have I seen? I've seen Sleeping with Sirens a few times. I saw that once at Warped Tour, I think, but I also saw them on a acoustic tour that they went on. I really like their acoustic music specifically, so that's why I went to that tour. I will say a lot of the concerts I go to are either in Chicago or Milwaukee. I live in a place that is accessible to both cities, so yeah, a lot of the times I try my hardest not to go to Chicago very often, but obviously you know, it has to happen sometimes. And then I don't know, who else have I seen? I've seen Yumi at 6 before. I saw them back in 2014. They were on tour with a band called Tonight Alive, which also is another band that has a female vocalist. I really liked that show. I was front and center at that show, I remember, and there was no barricade at that concert either, so I was like right up against the stage. And I remember specifically the singer of that band stepped on my hand, and that was kind of, I won't say it's traumatizing, but it was like, wow. And I also remember crying very vividly at that show because they have some really beautiful slower songs, and they played those. So yeah, definitely, I'm a concert crier for sure. Yeah, that's not something I can deny. So, but yeah, I've been to a lot of concerts over the years, as you can tell. My prime for concert going was probably 2013 to 2015 maybe. Which is weird because I was literally a kid, but my parents, I don't know, they didn't mind, or maybe they did, I don't know, but I did get the opportunity to go to a lot of different shows. It's way less than I've gotten to go to as an adult, which kind of sucks, but I do really enjoy the fact that as being an adult, I don't have to ask my parents to go to concerts anymore, so that's really nice because I can just drive there now, so, and pay for the ticket myself, so that's great. That was really all I had to talk about, so I guess I'll talk about K-pop groups, so we can bring this back to K-pop. K-pop groups that I'd like to see live. I would really actually like to see the entirety of NCT live. Maybe we won't get the full group at once, but I'd like to see Dream live and Wavy as well. I think it's kind of a shame that Dream especially hasn't gotten the chance to tour in the US. I don't know. I feel like I'll have endless opportunities to see 127, but you know, not so much Dream. And I'd really like to see Brave Girls live, Although I have very specific wants for a concert from Brave Girls. I know they had a concert. I don't know if it got postponed or canceled or what, but it was supposed to happen this month but never did. But specifically in terms of a concert from Brave Girls, I would really want to see them perform like literally their entire discography. So going back to 2011 and performing both of the songs on the debut single and just like really all of the early singles. I really want them to perform Nowadays You, because it is the one like older era song that they have never performed, like OT4, and that is one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time, so I really would like to see them do it, but I feel like the chances are low, which kind of sucks. But really, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I also really wish I got the chance to see CLC live before things went to shit. They're still like one of my favorite girl groups, so it would have been nice to be able to see them live. Who else? I don't even know, like, what do I like? I think I'd really like to see Blackpink. They toured in the US a while ago, but I didn't get the chance to go. I think it was around the same time that Twice was in the US. But, you know, concerts in Chicago, I already said this, but they're not as accessible to me. I definitely can go to Chicago, have gone to Chicago a lot, but also driving in Chicago is scary, so it's like, if I really don't have to, I'm not going to drive in Chicago, so yeah. But I also think seeing ITZY would be really fun. I know they toured as well. They toured as well in I don't know, was it 2020? Like the beginning of 2020? I kind of wish I had gone to that tour, but also I wasn't as into them then as I am now. And I feel like now it'd be more interesting to be able to see them perform more songs, because they didn't have very much music out at the time, so I hope that they tour the US when things become safe to do so again. I know K-pop groups have been coming to the US, and it's like, I don't really understand it, because, I don't know, what was it, like, very, one of the members literally got COVID and they were like stuck in Ohio or whatever, and that just seems like so stupid. Like, why risk it? Like, I understand money motivations, but it's also like, you have to take the health of like literally everyone into consideration, and you even have to consider the situation in the US now. It's not good. Like, no matter what, you can try to be as safe as you like want to be, but it's just, there's no guaranteeing that something's not going to happen. So it kind of sucks that things are happening that way, but I don't know. And like, so many different idols are testing positive like recently, and it is just so much. It's so much. Like, I really wish just, I don't know, things could be more under control. Steering the conversation back to where it should be, I think I'd really like to see New East live. Yeah, I love their music, so I think it'd be interesting to see them live. Who else? You know, I was supposed to see AB6 in 2020, but that concert got canceled, and I'm still kind of bitter about it. I was also actually supposed to see JBJ95. I remember I bought tickets to, I think it was a fan meeting, and yeah, that didn't happen, obviously. Okay, I ran out of sleeves again, so I'm just gonna open this and take some out. So yeah, I also feel like if any K-pop group came to the US, depending on how much I liked them, I'd consider going. Not like literally any group, but like just ones that, even if I'm not like super into them, like if I liked their music, I'd probably consider going, just because I like going to concerts just generally. So I always feel like seeing live music is very, I don't know, as someone who loves music, it's important to me. So yeah. So like when Pentagon came to the US, I wanted to go, but I just couldn't get there, so that kind of sucked. But I think it'll definitely be interesting to see who comes to the US when things, I don't know, when people can actually do tours again. Like I said, I think I already said that, but like, I feel like there being no tours the past few years is really nice just for me, because I don't feel like I have to go to them all. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like COVID has changed a lot of things for just K-pop in general, and it's quite interesting. But yeah, I'm just gonna finish these up real quick and then we'll come back. Okay, yeah, so that was everything. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I've been filming for like 2 hours, so I'm really going to try to cut this down to be less than an hour. We'll see how that goes. I am also going to re-sleeve the things that are in my main A5 binder, this pink one here. I consider that like more of my active collections in there. But I am going to re-sleeve those things, but everything in all of the other binders that I haven't gone through, those will not be getting re-sleeved. So like my UNB and inactive binders, those are not going to be touched. So yeah, I would go through the A5 binder, but I just don't have anything else to talk about. So yeah. With that said, that was it for this video. Thank you for watching. I don't expect anyone to have watched this whole thing, so if you did, thank you. I really hope, I don't know, you enjoyed. I don't know. Yeah, that was everything for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one.